Thank you so much for joining me here for a few minutes today at Advantech's Partner Connect. I'm Dave Lober, and I lead the platform management and marketing team for our Xeon and Core products at Intel's Internet of Things group. I sincerely hope that all of you are staying safe, and I hope that you will be able to continue to be well during this time. I very much am looking forward to when we are all able to be together again. Thanks to Advantech for inviting me to talk to you about how we can drive AIoT evolution with Intel platforms and OpenVino toolkit. AI is revolutionizing the edge, and we are seeing the projections from market analysts for the AIoT market opportunity continuing to go up and up. There's no doubt that AI at the edge represents a huge opportunity for all of us. And the products coming out based on Intel platforms are the products that are harvesting this opportunity even today. Here's a quick example. Intel worked very closely with one of our automotive customers. They were willing to think outside of the box on how to improve their manufacturing process efficiency. Specifically for their weld manufacturing process, they performed over 5,000 welds per car that they produced, and the factory produces 1,000 cars per day. So that's 5 million welds per day. To ensure the quality of these welds, they would randomly inspect one car per day, and this required 18 engineers to go off and inspect and complete that whole quality effort. This process was inefficient and expensive, and it didn't ensure the quality of the welds on the other 999 cars that would have been produced in that day. So if I jump forward really quick to the outcome of this story, we were able to work with them, and they deployed AI vision systems based on Intel platforms to do inline real-time weld inspections. This enabled them to go from inspecting one car per day to inspecting all 1,000 cars per day. This represents 1,000x improvement through the use of AI on Intel platforms. That is revolutionary. They also experienced a 50% reduction in the labor costs required to do the inspections as well. So the customer noted as saying that this successful implementation of AI is setting the blueprint for their factory, and they will be implementing these types of technologies across their manufacturing processes. So we are talking about the evolution of AI today, and it is going to be driven by revolutionary outcomes like this example, and it's all happening today with AI on Intel platforms. So after years of working in the area of AIoT, Intel has found that there are some major challenges that we seem to typically run into that confront our developers when they're trying to implement AI to realize this edge AI opportunity. So I'd like to quickly go through each of these challenges and describe how Intel is addressing each one of them. Let's start with the challenge of compatibility with existing infrastructure. This is a common constraint that we hear from our developers, and this generally refers to the requirement for compatibility to existing systems that are already deployed at the edge, or the need to deploy the same architecture, or many times a similarly configured system as to what is already deployed in their fleet, and to avoid the system management complexity in their infrastructure. In any case, there is generally a lot of friction to bringing in and deploying new systems that are not compatible, specifically to run AI workloads. So overcoming this challenge is where Intel really shines. Our product roadmap of Atom Core and Xeon processors used in combination with Intel's OpenVino toolkit are extremely capable of running AI-focused workloads today, and many of them have built-in AI accelerators. Take the example of our recently launched 11th Gen Core product, codenamed Tiger Lake. Tiger Lake has CPU cores with built-in VNNI, or Intel Deep Learning Boost, specifically designed to accelerate AI workloads. It also has up to 96 EUs, or execution units, in the integrated GPU, providing even more ability to run additional AI compute. So the simple message to developers who are confronted with this compatibility concern or constraints is to use the existing Intel systems that you currently are buying or are deploying into your infrastructure today and begin to build out your AIoT solutions there. Then, as your AI workloads begin to pay off by providing the desired business outcomes and more AI compute then is needed, then add AI-specific system capabilities as required. Another challenge is integrating AI into distributed systems in an environment. Intel's OpenVino toolkit addresses this challenge with a streamlined development workflow. This means that pieces of the inferencing workload or the entire workload can be easily allocated among the distributed systems based on Intel platforms. So taking advantage of OpenVino's write once, deploy everywhere on Intel platforms for AI inferencing workloads. The next challenge we see is not having a sufficient ecosystem established to enable developers to successfully get to market with their AIoT solutions. Intel has been working hard for years to develop a vast ecosystem of both hardware and software partners to enable developers on Intel platforms for every step in their edge AI journey. And Advantech is one of these partners. Another challenge is ensuring scalable performance for distributed computing. AI developers want to make sure that the architecture they choose can scale with their AI workload needs across a distributed edge and going forward into the future. Here Intel excels by having broad compute portfolio of compatible CPUs and integrated GPUs, as well as FPGAs and vision processors that provide a complete path to scale for whatever your performance needs are for your distributed computing environment. Another well-known developer challenge for AI is development complexity. The software and hardware programming challenges to get an AI model actually deployed onto a platform can be very complex. With Intel's OpenVino toolkit, we enable a write once, deploy anywhere approach. This allows a developer to write an application or an algorithm or to translate his model one time into an executable and then deploy it across the wide portfolio of compute architectures that Intel has. Finally, a key challenge developers often face is having limited expertise and training in AI. Intel addresses this with providing complete documentation for all of our products and training for developers to help them right where they're at in their stage in the AI journey. Now, here at the bottom, you can see the broad portfolio of AI compute engines that Intel has to offer and that I've been mentioning throughout the presentation. You also see the OpenVino toolkit that naturally resides above this that enables easy deployment of AI workloads across all of these compute engines. All of that here is shown as the foundation for the complete edge AI solutions offered today by Advantech and featuring Advantech's Edge AI suite. Together, Advantech and Intel provide a portfolio of hardware and software and developer resources for all of your AI needs. At Intel, we are continuing to evolve our AI capabilities and performance at both the hardware and software levels. These pictures that I've shown at the bottom represent example AI workloads. These are actual AI workloads from various applications running in our customers' factories, and they provided these AI workloads to us. We took these workloads and we ran them on both our Coffee Lake platform from 2018, which is the baseline that you see, and against our latest 11th gen core product, Tiger Lake. As the performance bars demonstrate, we are seeing a 2x improvement on inferencing on the CPU, which is the blue bars, for each of these workloads versus our Coffee Lake baseline. We also see a similar approximately 2x increase when we look at the AI workloads running just on the integrated graphics or the integrated GPU across all of these different workloads. And finally, and this is the biggest feature, the orange bar shows the improvement gained by using OpenVino's multi-setting, which deploys the AI workload across both the CPU and the GPU simultaneously to take advantage of the combined compute of both. These significant 100, 200, and 300 and up % performance improvements are made possible by this combined effect of not only hardware improvements, but our ongoing work on software optimizations and performance enhancements. This is what we are calling the combined effect of hardware and software for AI performance. So, after everything I've shared about Intel platforms being ideal for handling all of your AI workload needs, I wanted to quickly show you some of the great products that Advantech has available today, featuring our latest 11th gen core processor, Tiger Lake, that I have mentioned. Tiger Lake, which provides this large performance increase over previous generations, the highest ever integrated GPU performance of any part that we've ever created. It also features the Intel Deep Learning Boost AI accelerator. It also supports extended temperatures as well, from -40 to +85, to meet the most demanding environments. Advantech's board products, as you see here, come in both single board computer form factors as well as module-based designs for solution flexibility and future upgradability. We are excited to see what amazing AIoT solutions you will create with these products. And finally, Intel and Advantech both provide extensive hardware and software resources to help you as a developer at whatever level that you are at in your AI solution journey. Advantech provides extensive hardware solutions ready to solve your AI compute needs, as well as easy-to-use software tools, including hundreds of pre-trained AI models to get you started right away. Intel also provides some key services, such as the Intel Software Hub, which provides specific use case software stacks to get you up and running on your hardware in minutes. The Intel Dev Cloud, which allows a remote sandbox, if you will, where you can run your existing AI workloads on an extensive collection of Intel hardware to determine what hardware works best and runs your workload best before you go and have to choose your actual hardware. And then finally, here's the link to Intel's OpenVino toolkit that we've been talking so much about. In conclusion, I want to thank you very much again for your time and attention today. I'd like to thank Advantech for their continued great partnership with Intel. And please, everyone, be safe. I hope you and your loved ones are well and remain well. And I look forward when we can again meet in person. Thank you.